The sky outside the bridal hall was painted in hues of orange and pink, the golden hour casting its magic over the world. Inside, everything shimmered, the chandelier, the white roses, the polished marble floors, and the joy that usually accompanied weddings. But amid all the beauty and celebration, a storm was brewing. Alia stood in the center of the bridal suite, dressed in an ivory gown stitched with dreams and sacrifice. Her makeup was soft, her veil pinned just right, and in her arms, a 3-month-old baby, wrapped in a peach blanket, sleeping peacefully against her chest. This wasn't how she imagined her wedding day. Moments ago, her fiancé, Daniel, had entered the room. But instead of admiration in his eyes, there was confusion. Then came the sharp words that shattered everything. "Whose baby is that?" Alia's voice trembled as she replied, "She's my niece. My sister and her husband died in a car accident 3 months ago. I'm raising her now." Daniel stepped back as if struck. "You didn't tell me you were planning to keep her." Alia clutched the baby tighter. "She has no one else, Daniel. My sister raised me when we lost our parents. She gave up everything for me. This is the least I can do." His eyes grew cold. "I can't marry someone with a child. This isn't what I signed up for." The silence that followed was louder than any scream. Then, without another word, he turned and walked out. Guests whispered. The music stopped. And Alia, still in her gown, holding the child she now called her own, walked out of the hall, her heels clicking softly on the marble, the murmurs echoing behind her. No one stopped her. No one came after her. Outside, the evening air was crisp. She walked until she found a small park nearby, almost deserted except for the rustle of trees and the distant laughter of children. She sat on a bench, her veil flowing behind her, tears finally spilling down her cheeks. The baby stirred in her arms, and Alia smiled through the tears. "You and me, little one. We're going to be okay." But she didn't believe that. Who would hire a single woman with a baby? Who would look past the judgment? How would she start over when her dreams had crumbled in public, in front of everyone? As she rocked the baby slowly, trying to calm her own heart, a shadow loomed nearby. She looked up, startled. A man in a charcoal suit stood a few feet away, tall and elegant, with silver at his temples and kind eyes. He looked down at her, not with pity, not with judgment, but with something warmer. Something that made her heart pause. "May I sit?" he asked gently. Alia nodded, unsure. He took the other side of the bench, silent for a while. Then he glanced at the baby. "She yours?" Alia shook her head. "My sister's. But now, yes. She's mine." He studied her for a long moment. Then smiled. "You did something very brave today." Alia blinked, startled. Brave? Most people wouldn't walk away from comfort, from celebration, for a child who isn't theirs. But you did. You chose love. A tear slipped down her cheek again. "I didn't know what else to do. She needed me. And my sister, she would have done the same for me." The man nodded thoughtfully. "My name is Jonathan Reed." The name sounded vaguely familiar, but Alia was too emotionally drained to connect the dots. "I saw what happened back there," Jonathan continued. "The people, the silence. It said a lot more about them than it did about you." Alia looked down. "I think I lost everything." He smiled gently. "No. I think you just found your beginning." They sat in silence again, the baby gurgling softly in her sleep. Then Jonathan said something that changed everything. "What do you do?" "I used to be a preschool teacher. I had to leave the job after I took custody." He nodded slowly. "I run a network of educational foundations. Preschools. Daycares. Community support programs. We need someone with your kind of heart." Alia looked at him, stunned. Are you offering me a job? I'm offering you a future, he said. Not out of pity. But because people like you are the reason children thrive. Tears welled up again, this time, not from sorrow but hope. Within days, Alia was part of Jonathan's foundation. She started small, helping develop early childhood curricula and later, managing programs for underprivileged children. The baby, whom she named Amara, meaning grace, became the unofficial mascot of the center, always cradled in someone's arms, always loved. Months passed. Alia bloomed. The sadness in her eyes was replaced by quiet strength. She moved into a modest apartment owned by the foundation, surrounded by people who respected her, not for how she looked, but for who she was. And Jonathan? He kept showing up. At first, just to check on the programs. Then to drop off coffee. Then to hold Amara so Alia could breathe for a moment. They talked. Laughed. Shared stories of pain, of resilience. Jonathan was a widower, his wife had died 5 years ago in a plane crash. He had no children. One day, Amara called him Dada. Alia froze. Jonathan looked at her, stunned. I didn't teach her that, Alia said quickly, blushing. Jonathan smiled. Maybe she knows something we don't. Time kept moving. And eventually, love grew, not rushed, not dramatic, but steady. Rooted in kindness. On the first birthday Amara celebrated in their new life, Jonathan took Alia to the same park bench where they'd met. The sun was setting, just like that first evening. He knelt down. No audience. No glitter. Just 3 hearts that had found each other. You chose love once, he said. Now let me choose you. Marry me. Let's raise her together. Alia wept, but this time, the tears tasted of joy. A wedding happened months later. Not in a hall of chandeliers, but in the community center surrounded by the children whose lives Alia had touched. Amara toddled down the aisle holding a bouquet of sunflowers. And this time, no one walked out. Everyone stood up. The story of the girl who had been rejected for choosing love had traveled across states. News outlets picked it up. People were moved. Donations flooded in for Jonathan's foundation. Thousands were inspired to foster, adopt, or support. One post about Alia's story went viral in the U.S. It read, "A man left her on her wedding day because she chose to raise her sister's baby. A stranger saw her pain and gave her a future. Now she's changing lives, one child at a time. Be like Alia. Choose love. Always." And that's what the world remembered, not the dress. Not the rejection. But the love she chose, and the love that found her in return. Sometimes, the most beautiful beginnings come after our most painful endings. And kindness, even when unnoticed at first, always circles back with unimaginable grace.